Hey guys, what's up? Before we get started, I want to go ahead and point out, please go check out originpc.com. They build really nice computers, gaming computers, laptops, and some other accessories. They're really good, really customizable. I like them. So if you can, please go check them out. I'll leave a link for you in the description, and thank you. Alright. Now let's go ahead and get into it. This is my destro lock World of Warcraft Warlords of Draenor 6.1 uh, guide. I'm gonna go over talents, glyphs, rotations, just give some tips and pointers, uh, and just stuff like that. Let's go ahead and dive right into talents. The first talent I use is Searing Flames. I like it. This talent's actually a matter of playstyle between Dark Region and Searing Flames. I'm used to clicking Ember Tap a lot, so that's the Searing Flames works for me, even though it's still not all that much. As you can see down here, that only heals for 13.46% of my health. I'm not sure how much that scales up in PvP. I believe it's 14% for me, but I could be wrong. It just depends on what kind of stats you have and all that. But I like Searing Flames. Dark Region's another good one. If you like that one, you can go ahead and use it. Personally, I'm just used to Searing Flames. The next one is the level 30 talent tree, which I use Shadow Fury for. I like Shadow Fury because it's a stun. With Halitair, I tend to spam my fears quite a bit. I have my fears set focus macroed, so I can be beating the hell out of someone and then fear another target. So Halitair, really, I don't like it just because of the DRs and everything. I know a lot of people also use Mortal Coil. I see a lot of Warlocks do that. I used to use it for an opener, so I can get Chaos Bolts out in my 1v1s. But right now, I'm not built for 1v1s. I'm built for AoE, RBG damage. And the next one is Dark Bargain. I like Dark Bargain because if I ever end up sitting a base as Destro, which is more than you think, sadly, that gives me 8 seconds of no damage and gives someone else time to come and peel for me and help me out to get the base back. I see a lot of Warlocks using Sacrificial Pact, and they're not supposed to. Because whenever you don't use a pet, it sacrifices your own health, 20% of your own health, I believe, and I really don't like that. Because with Destro, you're supposed to use Grimmer as sacrifice unless you're like solo questing or leveling or something like that. Then you use Supremacy with your tank pet. The next one is Unbound Will. I use Unbound Will because I don't use a trinket, movement pairing trinket. So to me, Unbound Will is the good one for me to have. I see some use Blood Horror if they have a trinket. And then the next one is the level 75 talent trees. This one's a little bit tricky. It depends on what spec of Warlock you're playing. I know demo logs use Grimmer as service. I see some Affliction logs use Supremacy. I see some of them use Sacrifice. And as Destro, the only one you're really ever supposed to use is Grimmer of Sacrifice, just because it helps your damage out so much. And the next one, the level 90, is I use Killjaden's Cunning because last year in Mist of Pandaria you could move while cast as a Warlock, and I'm so used to that Killjaden's Cunning helps me out with my burst. And the good thing about this is you can use Chaos Bolts with it, so you can move around whenever you burst and cast your Chaos Bolts. That's the one that I like. And the next one is the level 100 talent tree. I use Charred Remains. Because as Destro, you pretty much want to build for pure burst. The only time you ever want to build for pure constant damage is really only in PvE, and as of right now, I'm not quite too sure what that build is as far as Destro goes. I haven't really messed around with PvE much this year, so I wouldn't know. But I like Charred Remains because it just helps you get embers really fast, and you can cast Chaos Bolts like no tomorrow. Some people use Cataclysm, but honestly, higher up in the CRs, you're really not going to be able to get a Cataclysm off. Um, Considering as destro, you have to hardcast everything anyways, so you're probably most of the time going to have someone sitting on you, spell locking you a lot. That's one of the problems with destro. Demonic Servitude is really one that you're never going to use as destro. It might be a PvE thing. I've seen a lot of locks use Grimoire Servitude in PvE, but that's not for PvP. And let's go ahead and move on to glyphs. Glyphs are tricky. I see a lot of different locks use different things. I see some locks use Glyph of Ember Tap, Demonic Circle, just different things. I've even seen some use Siphon Life as destro, which you're really not supposed to do. The ones that I use are Glyph of Havoc for my Chaos Bolts, and I'll show you how to use Havoc in a little bit. A Glyph of Conflagrate, so you don't have to use your Immolate to slow people with your Conflagrate. And Glyph of Dark Soul. With Glyph of Dark Soul, that makes my burst macro a minute cooldown, so because it only takes, with Charred Remains, it only takes me a few seconds to get full embers. So I like the 1 minute burst. It's pretty chill. And that's pretty much the glyphs that I'm gonna stick with. I've pretty much stuck with those for a long time. Hellstone's a good one to have. I've used that one before, but that's about really the only one that I've ever changed. Let's go ahead and move on to stats. With destro, I pretty much go for pure mastery. I try to, in PvP combat, fully buffed, I have about 110% mastery. Right now I have a 79.45% mastery, and that's without my mastery buff out of combat. I have more crit strike than I'd like to. That's because of my my 2 weapons. They both have crit strike on it. And a couple of other pieces have crit strike, and I've tried to numb it down to get all the pieces that have mastery on it. I even went with the two rep trinkets from Vol'jin Spear just to get the mastery, which really you're not supposed to do, but I said screw it and went ahead and did it. Versatility, you can stack versatility. I don't, obviously. It's a good one to stack. Multi-strike, that's more of a PvE thing to me because it has a 2-minute internal cooldown, so I don't like it. Haste is okay to have. It's not one of the main ones that you want to stack. And then crit strike as destro is completely useless. I see a lot of warlocks stack crit strike, and you're not supposed to because your chaos bolts are a guaranteed crit. And critical strike does not increase the damage of something, it increases the chance of something to crit. That's the only thing that crit strikes, and I've argued with a lot of warlocks about that and proved them all wrong. So do not stack crit strike as destro. The only thing that would help is your Immolate crit strikes, because Immolate crit strikes are what give you are one of the things that give you embers. And that's pretty much it for well, except for your intellect, of course. You have to stack intellect, but you'll get all that from your gear, so I'm not too worried about that one. And that's pretty much it for talents, rotations, glyphs, and that sort of thing. So let's go ahead and jump into the rotation. First off, if you ever go into an RBG, what you want to do first, once you find your target, I usually try to cast an Immolate on them, get that going, and then from there on out I cast my incinerates to build embers. Once you have full embers, as soon as I can build some up here, once you have full embers and everyone else on your team is lined up for burst, go ahead and pop your burst macro. My burst macro pops my my dark soul, my trinket, my unending resolve, so I can't get silenced, which is a very good thing to have in your burst. So once you have all that up, go ahead and pop your burst macro here and lay into them. Another good thing to do before you do that is use both charges of your Conflagrate, because it makes your Chaos Bolts go faster. That's a good one to have. And a lot of the times with Warlocks, they won't survive your burst unless they have all 3 healers there doing nothing but healing each other. That's really the only time that they're not that they can survive it. And of course, Shadow Burn at 20%. Um, and Havoc. Havoc is another good thing to have. Um, Havoc, here, let me go ahead and put it on. Let me set focus to this target right here. And because I have Havoc set focus, so it'll cast on my other target instead of my main one. Whenever I'm, bursting people, whenever I'm just getting numbers up and I have my burst is up, that go ahead and cool down there. Whenever it's up, I'll go ahead and burst, Havoc, and my Chaos Bolts will hit 2 targets twice because I have it glyphed. That is a very, very good thing to have in RBGs. It helps out so much, and a lot of the healers just can't take the heat from it, and they'll freak out. They don't know who to heal, and they'll just get all confused. As far as what pet to use, it depends on what ability you want. Your imp gives you a heal. No, I'm sorry. It doesn't give you heal. It gives you a dispel. To dispel either a friendly target or an enemy target. One magic ability. The next one, the Void Walker, gives you a 30% health buff for 20 seconds, I believe. It increases your health by 30% for 20 seconds. That's actually pretty handy to have. I'll use that one a lot of the times. Your Fell Hunter gives you a spell lock, which is one that I have right now. It gives you spell lock, which interrupts and prevents casting. The next one, the Succubus, gives you a knockoff. It's good for Eye of the Storm and Arathi Basin and stuff like that. I see a lot of Warlocks use that one. And that's for your pets. Another good thing to remember is your Fire and Brimstone. What that does is you can flip it on, and your main abilities hit everything within 8 yards actually. No, 10 yards, I'm sorry, within 10 yards of your main target. And it also, if you use Charter Mains, it works with Chaos Bolt as well, but Chaos Bolt uses 2 embers instead of just 1 like regular abilities do. What I'll do with Fire and Brimstone a lot is if I'm in the mid fight and there's a lot of enemy players there, I'll turn my Fire and Brimstone on and put my Immolate on everyone, so there's more of a chance for my Immolate to crit strike. And that way it'll give me more embers and plus put out that little bit more damage, which is actually pretty handy to have. That's really the only time that I use Fire and Brimstone. Any other time you use it would mainly be in PvE. And that's pretty much it. I'll go ahead, my macros, let me go ahead and tell you what they all are. I have my set focus macro, my set focus fear macro, which I tend to spam quite a bit. It's like just like the Havoc, I can be beating hell out of one target and fear another. My Havoc set focused, and then I have my actual set focus macro to set focus somebody else. That's pretty much it for my my Warlock guide right here. If you have any questions, please leave a comment in below, and thanks for watching, guys.